All right, this should be tape 12, if I'm following it right, and Introduction to Spiritual Direction. The prior tape, tape 11, we just talked about fear, sorrow, hope, and joy. And then I mentioned spiritual directors. Spiritual directors are working with you and are trained, and I want to give you the general rules of the road for spiritual directors so that you'll know what they're focusing on when they're working with you, and you begin to cooperate with them, and you can test them. This is all about Carmel, the Marian way of life, and the approach of John to the cross. And John to the cross does not want you to be a beast. You are a child of God. You were created by God. You were created for something noble. And so when we talk about spiritual directors, they have a goal. They have a job description. Here's the job description that I was given by others, and I pass it on to you. It's my witness. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm going to just tell it to you. Spiritual directors, 4 points. They're supposed to take you and turn you from evil, number 1. Secondly, they are supposed to establish in you a habit of prayer. That's communication with God. Turn from evil, establish you in communication with God, prayer. They're supposed to then ground you in the virtues. The virtues are habits. I'm working on a very basic level here of introduction. Habits. The habits of the soul, patience, the virtuous acts, the acts. There are human acts, and we'll talk about that in another tape. But a act that is moving from think of that red Corvette that can be in reverse, evil, neutral, you're not going anywhere. Those are vices. You smoke a cigarette, simply a vice maybe, to an act that is drawing you closer to God, worshiping God. So they are going to, 1, turn you from evil, get you communicating with God, which is grounding you in prayer, establishing you in virtue. It's the third one, which is increasing the relationship you have with God. And then the fourth thing they do is, again, move you from evil, establish you, ground you in prayer, establish you in the virtues, and then they want to make you docile, because God will begin to communicate to you, make you docile to the Word of God, docile to the will of God. Okay? Very simple. Now, if your spiritual director doesn't know about that, doesn't mean it can't be helping you. Not a good sign. And remember, we're all about testing. You test me. You can take what I say and apply it to the church. But the follow-up tape will tell you, again, the tools we're giving you. And this was simply spiritual directors, the 4 rules of spiritual direction, the 4 purposes of spiritual direction. And remember, turn from evil, communication, prayer, virtue, and docility. So if I am a bad man and I am on the coast off of Carmel, California, and I'm getting ready to cut somebody's head off. I have a sword and I've been killing with that sword. And I stop my evil because you say to me, look at the beautiful sunset that God created. I stop doing evil. I turn to the creation of God, the sunset, beauty. And you begin to tell me about the beauty. And you begin to talk about the God that created that sun. You're moving me from evil. Then you get to me to say, will you join me in praising that beautiful sunset and the creative hand, the creative mind behind it? You've got me communicating. Prayer. Then you begin to move them from evil to prayer, and then you begin to say, will you be patient with this one you were angry with? You're going to cut his head off. Will you be patient? Virtue, which increases the act that's going on inside. And patience is a very powerful one. Begins to get the human action moving in the right direction. Then, stop doing evil. Look at the sunset. Let's praise the hand and mind that did the sunset. And then be patient with the one you are going to kill. And let's ask the hand and the mind behind this created the sunset, what are we to do next? That's docility. Got it? That's practice points. Wish I could do it better. I want to be John of the Cross, who was giving information to people who were, one, busy, two, wanted a fast route to their destination, which was a spiritual life in union with God, and didn't want to mess around with a lot of walking around the mountain of perfection. They wanted to be on their way. So these are just snippets, basic level. Later on we can give you some intermediate and something for the advanced, something for the mind and something for the memory.